Harris family empire is shaking to its core. And this time, it's not just a minor disagreement, it's a full-blown public war. You won't believe the explosive words that were just exchanged between T.I. and his stepdaughter, Zonnique. We've seen the tension building for months, but the rubber band man just snapped, firing back with a response so sharp it has social media divided down the middle. Is this the end of the family hustle as we know it? But just when you thought the drama couldn't get any more intense, the king of petty himself, 50 Cent, has entered the chat. You know, Fif never misses an opportunity to stir the pot, especially when it involves his longtime rivals. He just dropped a reaction that is literally breaking the internet. And let's just say, he isn't holding anything back. In today's deep dive, we are uncovering the hidden layers of this shocking turn of events. We're breaking down the exact moment T.I. decided he had seen enough, the heartbreaking statements from Zonnique that triggered the king of the South, and the brutal memes 50 Cent is using to fuel the fire. Why did Zonnique decide to go public now? Was there a secret meeting behind closed doors that went south? And why is 50 Cent so invested in this family's private business? We have the exclusive details, the leaked screenshots, and the industry insiders telling us what's really happening behind the scenes at the Harris household. This isn't just celebrity gossip. This is a legacy on the line. Stick around, because we're peeling back the curtain on the most chaotic hip-hop family feud of 2026. This is the breakdown you've been waiting for. Let's get into it. To understand why T.I. finally reached his absolute breaking point, we have to pull back the curtain on the deteriorating state of the Harris family dynamics over these past few months. For the longest time, the Harris household was presented to the world as the ultimate gold standard of hip-hop royalty, a unified, unshakable empire where family loyalty came before everything else. Zonnique Pullins has always been viewed by the public as the level-headed, poised, and polished daughter who served as the essential bridge between her mother, Tiny, and her stepfather. T.I., she was the one who kept the peace, navigated the fame, and seemingly accepted the structure of the household without question. However, beneath that carefully curated surface, something fundamental shifted. It started with subtle, almost invisible cracks, a few candid comments on podcasts, a series of cryptic social media likes, and a noticeable distance in family. Photos all hinting that Zonnique was beginning to feel stifled by the very brand that helped launch her career. The tension reached a boiling point when Zonnique finally went live, deciding that the time for silence was over. She spoke candidly about the controlling nature of her upbringing, painting a picture of a household where the polished public image often outweighed the messy, authentic reality of daily life. She didn't hold back, describing the pressure of living under the king of the South's shadow and the struggle to establish her own identity in a home where every move seemed to be filtered through someone else's expectations. For a family that built their entire narrative on the family hustle brand, this was a massive public blow. It wasn't just a daughter expressing frustration, it was a fundamental challenge to the patriarch's authority. A man who has spent 2 decades crafting a persona defined by wisdom, mentorship, and firm leadership didn't just take this lightly. He viewed the public critique as an affront to everything he had worked to build. His response was immediate and, for many, shockingly defensive. He didn't offer a gentle private message or a supportive fatherly pivot. Instead, he took to his own platform with a long-form rebuttal that sounded more like a CEO, defending a struggling corporation than a father talking to his child. He focused his argument on the immense sacrifices he had made to secure their lifestyle, the luxuries they enjoyed, and what he termed the ungratefulness of a generation that has never had to navigate the same obstacles he faced. The tone of his response was clinical, stern, and arguably cold, which is exactly why it set the internet on fire. He treated the situation as a business dispute, breaking down the logistics of their family dynamic and demanding respect for the structure he provided. This sent the comments section into an absolute frenzy. Supporters of Tip rallied behind him, arguing that a girl dad has the right to be protective and that he was simply trying to preserve a legacy for his children's futures. On the other side of the aisle, a massive wave of viewers accused him of being entirely out of touch with the emotional needs of his children, arguing that even in a house of millions, money can't replace true autonomy. The backlash was instantaneous, with thousands of users dissecting every single word of his statement, searching for the hidden meanings and the underlying resentment. The atmosphere in the hip-hop community shifted from curiosity to true combustion. What was once a private family matter had become the hottest topic in the industry. And it was clear that the rubber band man was feeling the heat. Every post Tip made after that was scrutinized. Every move Zonnique made was recorded, and the divide between the two camps seemed to widen with every passing hour. It wasn't just a disagreement anymore. It was a power struggle playing out in real time for millions to see, while the public was busy debating the merits of his argument. T.I. found himself in the middle of a narrative he could no longer control. He had built his brand on being the man who had all the answers. The man who could navigate any controversy with a calculated, articulate response. But this time, the rules of his own game were working against him. By framing the conversation as a lecture on gratitude and structure, he inadvertently confirmed many of the things Zonnique was complaining about. The more he tried to explain his position, the more the public felt he was gaslighting his own daughter. And that is exactly the kind of ammunition that his biggest rivals were waiting for. As the tension hit a level 10, and while the family was struggling to contain the fallout of these public statements, a much more dangerous shadow was looming in the background. The situation was fragile, the narrative was spiraling, and the King of the South was about to find out that his most formidable opponent wasn't in his own house. It was a man who had been waiting for a moment, just like this, for his entire career. 50 Cent, having watched the entire drama unfold from the sidelines, finally saw the opening he needed to jump into the fray, and the reaction he was about to drop would change the trajectory of this entire feud forever. The stage was being set for a clash that would dominate the headlines for weeks. And as the dust began to settle on this initial exchange, it became clear that this was only the beginning of a much larger, more chaotic storm that nobody in the Harris household was prepared to weather. As the family tension reached a fever pitch, the biggest troll and master manipulator in hip-hop history, 50 Cent, officially stepped into the arena. If there is a fire burning anywhere in the industry, you can bet Curtis Jackson is standing nearby with a gallon of gasoline. The relationship between 50 Cent and T.I. has always been a complicated frenemy. Dynamic one day, they're teasing a versus battle, and the next, they're trading subliminal shots. But when 50 smells blood in the water, especially regarding someone's personal reputation, he never misses. As soon as the news of T.I. and Zonnique's fallout went viral, 50 didn't just watch from the sidelines. He turned it into a full-scale social media spectacle. 50 Cent began his campaign with surgical precision. He started by reposting the most emotional clips of Zonnique, expressing her need for independence, adding his own translation of what she was really saying. 50's goal was clear: to dismantle the wise mentor image that T.I. has spent decades building. He ruthlessly mocked T.I.'s famously complex vocabulary, suggesting that the King of the South was only using big words to mask the fact that he was losing authority over his own household. This wasn't just a casual comment. It was a direct attack on T.I.'s pride and his identity as the patriarch of the Harris Empire. But the trolling didn't stop there. 50 unleashed a tidal wave of memes that dominated the internet for days. In one viral post, he photoshopped T.I. into a classroom as an overly strict, outdated teacher while his children scrambled to find the exit. He even began referring to Tip as the King of the South Pole, implying that T.I.'s influence was freezing over and his relevance was fading. This was pure psychological warfare. 50 knows that T.I. is incredibly sensitive about his intellect and his legacy, and by turning his fatherly concerns into a joke, 50 forced T.I. into a position where any response would make him look even more defensive. The industry was stunned, wondering why 50 Cent was so invested in a family's private business. The answer lies in their long-standing rivalry over who truly holds the most street and business credibility. By siding with Zonnique, at least amplifying her voice, 50 effectively stripped T.I. of his moral high ground. He went as far as to publicly offer Zonnique a platform on his own network, Zonnique Film and TV, suggesting she tell her story without the lecture and without the dictionary. It was a bold, disrespectful challenge. On one side, T.I. was losing his connection with his daughter. On the other, his greatest rival was weaponizing that pain for clicks and clout. As the drama unfolded, social media users were split down the middle. While some felt 50 Cent should stay out of a father-daughter dispute, the majority couldn't help but laugh at the accuracy of his roasts. T.I. was suddenly fighting a war on two fronts. He had to manage the emotional fallout with Zonnique, while simultaneously defending his dignity against 50's relentless digital onslaught. Every time T.I. tried to post something profound to reclaim the narrative, 50 was right there with a meme to shut it down, making T.I.'s efforts look desperate. The situation was spiraling out of control. The man who usually controls the room with his speech was now being shouted down by the roar of the internet. The shocking turn wasn't just the fight itself, but how quickly T.I.'s armor was being stripped away by a man who lives for chaos. But as the jokes continued to fly, the real-world consequences began to set in. The laughter on Twitter couldn't hide the fact that a family was breaking apart in real time. This leads us to the most critical question. Where does Tiny Harris stand in all of this? And is the Harris legacy strong enough to survive a hit from both the inside and the outside? In the eye of this digital hurricane stands the one person who has always been the glue of the Harris household. For years, Tiny has performed a delicate balancing act, serving as the mediator between T.I.'s ironclad principles and her children's desire for modern independence. However, insiders suggest that this latest explosion has placed her in an impossible position. This isn't just a scripted moment for a reality show. This is a real-time fracture in her family. On one hand, she is a mother who deeply understands Zonnique's need for an identity outside of the family hustle brand. On the other, she is a wife and long-term business partner to T.I., whose entire public legacy is built on the image of a disciplined, united front. Reports from sources close to the family claim that the tension behind closed doors has reached a breaking point, while the internet laughed at 50 Cent's memes. The atmosphere inside the Harris estate was reportedly somber and filled with emergency meetings that often ended in silence rather than resolution. The most shocking turn in this saga is the rumor that Zonnique is no longer just asking for space. She is allegedly looking to legally and professionally decouple her business interests from the family umbrella. If Zonnique moves forward with her own ventures, completely independent of the Harris name, it would signal the end of an era. It would prove that the traditional patriarchal model of hip-hop families is being dismantled by a younger generation that values mental health and autonomy over a polished brand image. And then there is the 50 Cent factor. The G-Unit mogul hasn't let up for a second. He has already begun hinting that this family drama might serve as inspiration for his upcoming television projects, further twisting the knife into T.I.'s side. By turning a private family crisis into potential content, 50 has exposed the ultimate vulnerability in T.I.'s armor in the age of social media. You cannot control the narrative once the doors to your house have been left. Ajar T.I. is now facing the reality that his King of the South title doesn't grant him immunity from the changing tides of culture or the relentless trolling of a rival who has nothing to lose. As we look at the wreckage of this very public spat, the consequences are clear. The Harris family legacy is at a crossroads. Will T.I. be able to put aside his pride, drop the complex vocabulary, and speak to his daughter as a father rather than a mentor? Or will the weight of 50 Cent's mockery and the pressure of public opinion drive a permanent wedge between them? This feud has become a cautionary tale for every celebrity family. The brand is never more important than the people behind it. The world is waiting to see if the family hustle can survive its greatest challenge yet. Whether this ends in a heartfelt reconciliation or a permanent split, the hip-hop community will never look at the Harris empire the same way again. One thing is certain, 50 Cent will be there to document every single step of the fall. What do you think? Is T.I. just being a protective father, or is it time for him to let Zonnique lead her own life? And is 50 Cent taking it too far? Or is he just exposing the truth? Drop your comments below and let us know whose side you're on. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exclusive deep dives into the stories that are shaking the foundations of hip-hop. We'll see you in the next one. Now I want to hear from you. Is T.I. just being a protective father, or is it time for him to step back and let Zonnique live her own life? And what do you think about 50 Cent's constant trolling? Is he out of line, or just keeping it real? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories in hip-hop.